Hello, my loves. So, I'm going to do some messages for you today. I've been noticing that as the darkness is ascending, right? We're getting to the darkest days of the year up until the 21st. So, we have about 11 more days as we're descending into the darkness to return to the light. And like I said in yesterday's video, Neptune is going direct today. So I just want to bring forth whatever messages will be supportive for you through this process of what we might be going through over this next few weeks or what might be appearing. Hmm, We'll go from there. How have you guys been doing? I feel like a lot is happening really fast and in the energies, it almost feels like getting ushered to a certain place and then being in another holding tank. If that makes any sense to any of you. Like there's like spurts of movement and then right back to like stillness. So let's see. Okay. I am, I sort of sense the masculines hovering. So that feels like part of it. Okay. Something processing with the masculine collective. It was like a bubble got burst, like we're talking about, like something opened up. Wow. Okay, so they're literally showing it to me like a blister. Like, there's a blister, and if you pop it, all the fluid that's in there is actually what's healing it. But then it will reform or scab and start to heal again. It feels like something was in process of healing and got burst open, but it actually feels really necessary because what it feels like is this masculine thought that it was like a surface, like a blister's right on the surface, right? And that part was starting to heal, and then the deeper wound got revealed. Wow, okay. Repairing the veil, forgiveness. Okay. What I'm feeling is this masculine. Wow. Did you see my body move? It's like he had a certain perspective for a very long time, and he convinced himself that that was the truth. And he was healing based on that bandwidth. This is connected to that bandwidth and the illusions lifting that we spoke about yesterday. But now, as the next layer of healing is ready, he's realizing that it was significantly deeper and there was a lot more to it than what he once thought. And he's in the process of rectifying that information. And what I'm sensing is this process of forgiving himself, forgiving the feminine, forgiving the process. I'm feeling quite a bit of shock with this energy. It is bringing forward that energy that's been coming through as I prepare to do the mind portion of nourishing the nervous system, which is that compartmentalization of emotions, of experiences, and where the connection had been compartmentalized. And now that compartment is being unpacked, it's being opened. So it's interesting. This is coming through because thinking of it in terms of how the masculine compartmentalizes a lot, and that's how they function, but they're not really unpacking the compartments. I realize a lot of the feminines when they're going through their dark night of the soul, there's so much information that she's not able to process it until it starts to get into digestible chunks, which is what I call pockets. So, in a way, the feminine learned how to compartmentalize things into digestible chunks but was still processing. And this is where this is an important energy to talk about because this is where the connections often go into the physical world separation, and the masculine compartmentalizes, comes across very cold and just totally withdraws. And the feminine is left holding a lot of information, a lot of energy, a lot of emotion. And this part feels really important too for many feminines who've been on the journey for a while. I'm sure you can attest to this yourself, that as you go along the journey and you're healing and you're working on the digestible pockets, you're getting deeper and deeper. And then you look back as you're able to finally face the deeper layers, the deeper wounds, you're realizing you actually compartmentalized information as well. And then you can start to see that, oh my goodness, there really wasn't a choice because there was only so much that we could deal with at once. And we had to expand our capacity and build our muscle and embody through experiences so that we could actually handle and process this level of information and love. And so you can feel, as I'm feeling into this, where both the masculine and feminine have been dropping into deeper states of self-forgiveness as well as forgiveness for one another. And this is allowing things to repair in the energies if this isn't coming forward into the physical world just yet. All right, let's see. What else do we have with this message? I don't remember what I said at the beginning of this. I was originally going to do it for members, but I feel like I'm going to post this publicly and then I'm going to do another video for members because I, whatever is going on with the masculine collective right now, they're really like coming out of their shell, so to speak. Something very big is opening as the illusions are being lifted. And if you look back on my channel for like months, I was mostly only doing messages for the divine feminines. And now it feels like there's been this huge dynamic shift to the voice of the masculine collective. So yeah, just bear with me as I'm working through some of these energetic shifts myself. And you'll see earlier today, I also posted just a general support message that I recorded a few nights ago that I felt, um, I don't know, I just all of a sudden this morning I felt inspired to share it. So I also think I may do more of that. Like if I'm just guided to bring in specific messages, especially for my subscribers, um, I might be bringing in more messages, more specific messages for those of you here as I have some time and space to do so. I always ask Source to use me as a channel to support and connect with people who can benefit from my messages and my work. So as we are in these winter months, I do have more space and time, so I'm going to let that unfold. So you may see more videos from me. All right. Okay, wow. So as these energies are really thawing and the illusion is being lifted, there's a definite deeper activation of the energies of the original initiation. What is my sense is that we've talked about this before, where the feminines feel that initial intensive burn of the twin flame initiation. Not that the masculine isn't experiencing any of it. He is, but the feminine up front is the one who's really transmuting and working through the process. This feels to me that the feminines are still feeling it, but she's worked through quite a bit. So now it's sort of flip-flopping, and the masculine is really being massively ignited with all of these realizations. And it's bringing back those initial memories from your soul merge, from the love bubble phase, from this process that you've been going through, where you initiated one another, where you were brought together divinely, and you couldn't stop it if you tried. And I sense that maybe some of you even did try to pump the brakes and slow things down, or, you know, yeah, stall things for a bit, but it was like the universe just was slamming you together. And then the universe like rips you apart, and then you have to go process all of this. But now that rip is being repaired, right? The universe brings you together to remind you of who you are and your potential. And then when I say ripping apart, it's like where all of the distortion and all of the places and spaces you're not loving yourself or able to hold unconditional love pulls you apart in that sense so that you can clean up those sensors where you can drop in and embody love and care for yourself and then more love and care for others. And that is what is repairing the rip. That's what's repairing the wound. That's what's supporting the process of reigniting those original memories and helping. What I'm seeing is like as this awakens, it's like this memory, this energy, right? The rainbow even just makes me think of like the Kundalini energy, all of the chakras, all of that alignment. This is, where the soul merge takes place is through the chakra system. And this, like, as the systems are repairing from both sides, this energy can land back home, pulling the two back together. You can obviously also clearly apply this to your internal union energies. And as you're feeling your internal feminine and masculine opening up to each other, as you are feeling more of your own creation energies igniting, and your temperance in your capacity to be stable and expansive is those signals that are letting you know that you are ready to receive the reunion energies back into your space or into your life in a new way. For those of you that are in physical world connection, you may find that as this collective transformation is amplifying into 2026, that your connection in the physical world is also coming into more harmonious energies. All right. What else would the masculine like to share? Actually, in going into the priestess of light, I can feel there's perspectives that they're starting to understand. Miracles and ancient wisdoms. What I'm feeling is like where these masculines felt the magic, they felt the connection, they felt it all up front. And then as things started to get intense or into the separation energies, they doubted everything that they were feeling. They questioned it. They questioned the love. They questioned the connection. They questioned the source of the connection. You name it, they went through all of those self doubts, all of the doubts of the connection. I'm sure many feminines can attest that. In fact, I speak to many who are in that state of absolutely knowing the connection is undeniable and then questioning if they're crazy or making it up somehow. This is a really typical experience for both masculine and feminine. But what is coming through is like as those illusions are lifting, and the true essence of the connection is being restored and thawed back out, that this is actually reminding and inspiring the masculine to believe in miracles. And actually, whatever is happening, whatever way this is being restored or reawakened for him, what I'm seeing is the process of how it's unfolding and embodying is what is helping him know the truth of it. It's this this is something that only he could trust or know via going through his own experiences and figuring it out for himself. And there's something in the energies, there's something brewing, there's something that his heart is opening up to that's allowing him to more deeply open up to this idea of miracles and really letting himself start to open up to the potential of the restoration of this connection and those original energies. And I do feel that this is something that's happening very silently in the inner workings of this masculine at this time. There's more that wants to come out with this. Okay, what else do the masculines want us to know? I feel like there's emotion building underneath this. I can feel like in the past where he was deeply trying to suppress and ignore it. And now there's like a release of the resistance. I don't know that he's fully all the way surrendered yet, is how it feels, but it feels like he's on the cusp of that trust with the universe, with source, with the higher power, and allowing himself to feel the safety net of the connection and allowing himself to open up to actually believe that it is genuine and that miracles can happen. Wow. And it's coming to me like there's something about this season. Maybe that's like why I started out the video with the messages connected to the the last few days of darkness. There feels like maybe there's something significant over this next 10, 11, 12 days. Wow. And we're only 2 days away from the 12/12 portal. I almost forgot about that, even though I said yesterday, remember that, like, see, that happens. All right. So what is unfolding over these next few days and weeks? Is there anything you want to share with that? As I'm saying that, it feels like that's when the veil is really like the darkness. We're going into the darkness. Oh, wow. Okay. But this is like what I'm seeing is this is where he's going into the depths of himself, into the depths of his heart, and revealing, look at that, revealing that truth, revealing the light as we move into the return of the light here in the Northern Hemisphere. And I feel, obviously, for those of you on the other side of the world experiencing going into summer, even though it's actually when you start losing minutes of light, you're also at the height of the light. So there is this very deep balancing point that feels like it's going to really balance out from the winter solstice to the spring equinox, and then the summer solstice to the fall equinox on the other side of the planet. I love it. It's so beautiful. I can just feel even the planetary energies supporting the masculine and feminine collective. But over these next few weeks of going into that deeper, that compartment, for those of you that are interested in that, stay tuned. I'm going to record probably tomorrow or Friday. I'm going to record the nourishing the nervous system, um, the mind part of that. And it's so deeply, intricately connected to the emotional body. I was really actually surprised at what I discovered with all of that. So, how it's really where I started to understand more deeply how the masculines have compartmentalized so much because I was going, you would think that I would do physical body, mental body, emotional body, spiritual body. But I was guided to do physical body, emotional body, mental body, spiritual body. And through that process is where I realized it's because the emotional body was so compartmentalized. The mind was protecting from it, but thawing out the emotions from the inside out it's allowing the emotional body and the mental bodies to work together versus shutting down. And when we think of that in terms of the masculine and feminine, we're speaking about the mental, logical, masculine energy, right? And the emotional, intuitive, feminine energy. And so it was compartmentalized, it was contained, but it was suppressed. So now we're working as masculines and feminines to learn how to, yes, put things in their own compartments, their own pockets, right? But not to suppress so that they are digestible to be able to process, to be able to work with when we are in a place to do it, or we can get our self-help or X, Y, and Z, right? Not about suppressing anymore, but also not feeling massive amounts of instability and trauma as a result, right? So this is a perfect example of how the harmonization of the masculine and feminine energies internally and externally is to a massive benefit for all of us, right? So the feminine intuitive emotion does not have to be suppressed. It can work harmoniously with that mental, logical, um, containing energy, right? You just have to work with it in a nice harmonious way so that they're, syncing up together. And this is, wow, I feel it. I've worked with this in my own system, so I know how powerful it is. And I'm sure many of you have, but it's just such a pure testament to the importance of both masculine and feminine energies in working together. So again, as the masculine goes deeper into this process, it feels like that is a big part of what is awakening and opening. So if any of you guys are interested in that series of sessions, you can start the physical body and the emotional body. Those are already available, and the mental body will be coming out in the next few days. Everything will be in the pinned comment. But this information that I'm sharing with you has deepened my perspective on it through that nourishing the nervous system process. And so, again, the masculines are like going into the depths of what he once avoided to return to his own light, to return to the light of the connection. And again, let's see where it's headed. It's exactly 10 o'clock, which is 1000, obviously, as you know, but it's signifying that new beginning energy. Okay. Wow. So we have the Knight of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups. So what I'm feeling from this is like as he goes deep, deep, deep into his heart, it's like going deep, deep, deep into the earth to remember where you planted those seeds. And the seeds that were planted back at the original initiation, the seeds of your soul contract, your soul connection, what you came here to do and what you came here to do together with your feminine is being reawakened. That seed that was once dormant is now opening, and the masculine is remembering all of the visions, all of the seeds. And as he allows himself and his heart to open to these energies, this is where he's going to break free from his own illusions, from his own protections, and actually allow his own system to repair, to forgive himself, to forgive his connection, and to allow himself to actually receive what it is that he has been asking for. What I'm sensing is he's been asking for a long time, and he was avoiding the fact that it had anything to do with this connection for a long time. And he kept growing in other ways, but then reached this pivotal point where he just couldn't go any further until this connection was addressed. Because he cleaned up and worked on whatever else he could, now there's just really no more denying what's living inside of him. It's his own truth, his own truth that has been living within his heart. And as he allows it to thaw and blossom, it's going to help propel him forward. Wow. All right, my loves. Very beautiful, unexpected message. What I'm feeling is that for my members, I'm going to go deeper into this energy for the feminines in what is unfolding with the masculine and the feminines who are feeling connected to this stream of energy, what the feminines can do on their side to prepare and be ready to receive this information. And just whatever wants to come through from the masculines for the feminines. And there she is. There she is. Okay, that's saying that there's something for the feminines from back from her initial initiation that's being reactivated and opened in a new way as well. So there's something that happened way back at the beginning of your journey during that initial soul merge, your love bubble phase, there is something that you experienced back then that is reopening, and this is what we're going to dive into. Wow. All right, here we go. Love you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And all my information will be in the pinned comments. I do have a few spaces for sessions next week, and the following week is open. And those intuitive personal readings are available through the end of this month. Take care. Much love. See you soon. Peace.